Hey, Lit Set, it's Jasmine.
Hey Lit Set, it's Nikea, and this is Black Girl Lit,
The podcast. We're a podcast now, guys.
where black girls are lit
We get lit.
and we
read
read lit.
This is Black Girl Lit, the podcast.
All right, y'all, we're here. Episode number 2, season 4. This is so weird because we've recorded 2 episodes, solos, our quick lit solo dolos.
Let's quickly talk about that for a second. I realize I am nothing without Nike. I mean, I'm something, but I'm mainly nothing.
Yeah,
it is a struggle to record solo.
Yeah, in terms of Black Girl Lit, it's like, Ricky Bobby, I don't know what to do with my hands. It was trash, like terrible.
It was, it wasn't terrible. I mean, people have listened, and also I apologize for my lighting. I'm sitting right next to a window. Not people, but it's difficult. Even when you're following our format, it was still hard. It was still like,
I'm not nobody to like interrupt you or add a little tidbit in. It was just like,
it was really straightforward. No tangents. So
So before we get to our book today, Jazz, let's check in. How you doing? How you feeling? How's life?
I'm doing okay. I was say it's a Tuesday. I forgot what day it was. I was like, it's a Tuesday.
It is.
I'm just working, just living. Honestly, right now things are just real chill. Nothing too crazy going on. It's just even kilter right now, which I'm fine. I'll take that. I will take that. But then I start thinking about the election and how we're doomed. So, and how I'm going to have to leave America. But, that's beside the point. How are you doing?
Right. I'm good now. I was a little down on myself. I was telling my husband this. I'm unemployed. I'm not working for anybody right now. I'm not going to say I'm unemployed. I'm not working for anyone right now. I am a full-time stay-at-home mom. And this is the first time in our relationship, even while dating, that I have not been working for someone. So I'm not bringing any money in. So I kind of feel like I'm not contributing. He was telling me that I've already put my work in because we moved to Virginia to save money. So I was able to like move a lot of money into our savings and build us a nice little nest egg and stuff. And yeah, so I was like, okay, I feel okay. I feel good.
You're definitely contributing. Don't think that you aren't. You're just contributing in a non-financial way.
Right.
You're contributing with Harper being her teacher now and taking care of her, and that. I mean, you were already taking care of her, but more so than you were before.
Right.
And having to educate her, and prayers to you. So your contribution is just different. That just comes with relationships. Roles change.
Yeah, it's weird. I have to accept it. But Harper's school has been closed for like 3 weeks because
the academy's closed.
Yeah, we're closed right now because of renovations to the school. So yeah, we're virtual right now. Online learning only.
Nothing wrong with that. There is still a lot to be learned on the internet. That's why I learned it.
Right. Today's book is my choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I stand by my choice.
Mm-hmm.
It is a novel. Just shut up. It's a novel entitled A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Rosanne A. Brown. And it's YA. It is fantasy. It is magical. It is set in Africa. Mm-hmm. The cover art is beautiful.
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I see why you picked it if you were looking just on the cover. I get that.
I read the synopsis. Don't do me.
Oh, I'm just the only one that don't read synopsis. I know that about myself. What's a synopsis? Okay.
We don't know her.
We don't know her.
So yeah, let's just go ahead and get right into it. Our first segment is about the author. Rosanne Rosie A. Brown was born in Kumasi, Ghana, and immigrated to the wild jungles of central Maryland as a child. Writing was her first love, and she knew from a young age that she wanted to use the power of writing, creative and otherwise, to connect the different cultures she called home. She graduated from the University of Maryland with a bachelor's in journalism and was also a teaching assistant for the school's Jimenez Porter's Writers House program. Her journalistic work has been featured by Voice of America, among other outlets. On the publishing side of things, she has worked as an editorial intern at Entangled Publishing. Can we just laugh at the name of that company?
Entanglements.
Rosie was a 2017 Pitch Wars mentee and 2018 Pitch Wars mentor. Rosie currently lives outside Washington, D.C., where in her free time she can usually be found wandering the woods, making memes, or thinking about Star Wars. And that is Rosanne, or Rosie A. Brown, author of Song of Wraiths and Ruin. And that is it.
Okay. Well, hey, Rosie girl. It's nice to meet you, sis.
Yes.
I did not know that she was going to be from Africa, but that does add some additional context to the story based on it being an African themed YA fantasy novel.
All right, now we got to get into Jazz's Jam, the segment where she flourishes and thrives. She's going to synopsisize A Song of Wraiths and Ruin.
Yes, come along with me where I synopsisize. Y'all, first off, let me just say this book, okay, let me stop reactions, because this is coming off like I didn't like it, and I don't want you guys to think that. Okay, that's not what we're saying at all. So the A Song of Wraiths and Ruin is the tale. It's told from two perspectives. It's told by Malik and Karina. Malik is a young refugee who is going to this new country named Zaran. Yeah, Zaran's the kingdom. He's going to Zaran, with his sister, older sister Layla, younger sister Nadia. They're all refugees just trying to get a new life for themselves so they can send somebody back home to their family and just try to just make it, just trying to survive. They're from a country called Estra. And then you have Karina, who is the princess of Zaran. She is trying to get out of her country and try to go explore the world and see what's out there. She's just tired of being a princess, tired of the customs, just tired of what that means. And that's not, basically the whole teenage princess angst that you may have heard in other stories. They have the fortunate opportunity to meet during the festival known as Solstasia, which is this once every 50-year festival that they have to kind of commemorate the founding of their world and their kingdom by, I think I heard Bella, something like that. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to say it's like it's a spoiler, but I don't want to give stuff away. Oh no, it's not. It's not a spoiler. I can say this because it's in the synopsis. Malik's little sister, one of the sisters, gets kidnapped by an evil man. So in order to get her back, he is told he needs to kill Karina. And the only way that Malik feels he's able to do that is by entering into one of the challenges or as a champion during Solstasia, so that he can kill Karina and get his sister back. Conversely, Karina is out here thinking that she needs to kill somebody to bring a lost loved one back. So what are the chances that they might need to kill each other? Who's to know? So that's the story, basically. This is a terrible synopsis as I think about how I'm synopsizing this book, but that is the high level, medium level, a little bit low in the weeds version of the Song of Wraith and Ruin. Wraith, not Rafts. Wraiths and Ruin.
It's
Wraiths.
hard because it has that TH and the S. I think that's called a diphthong. Wraiths. And Ruin. Yeah, you gotta look stupid when you say it. Wraiths. Wow, we have issues.
That we too.
Thank you, Jazz, for that synopsis. I know this book is like very meaty. It's almost 500 pages.
Yeah.
And y'all will be proud to know that I actually read it. I did not listen to it.
I did not. I listened.
But anyways, let's get to our reactions.
I took some notes, so let's get to these reactions though.
Right, let's get to our reactions since that's what we're talking about. All right, next segment is our reactions, our initial feelings about the novel and such. So I guess I'll start it off. I chose this novel because I thought it was dope that it was fantasy. Y'all know I'm really into fantasy. I like this novel because of Black people, okay? And they're African and they have magical powers and stuff. So I was like, yes, I want to read this. The synopsis got me in there because it's like a little love story.
Not my synopsis, but the real synopsis.
Yeah. An entanglement, if you will, of sorts. The cover is beautiful as well. And I think I was into this because I already had read Children of Blood and Bones by Tomi Adeyemi. And I was like, okay, another African-based novel. Like, that's really dope. Then I started reading it. I picked this book up on September 1st, and I didn't finish it until October 6th, today. Looking back now in retrospect, it was just so many details, like so many scenes that were long and drawn out for no reason. And I would only read this book like at night. I don't know how I finished it in this time, but I could only read it at night and then I would fall asleep. But it was just so many details. I will say that I like Malik. I like him.
Yes.
I think he's my favorite character.
Yes.
Karina, although she is a main character, I don't like her. I don't like her.
No, it's a no for me.
And then the book did at the end, like the last probably 8 to 10 or like 5 to 8 chapters, it started to like, this is how the book should have been written the whole time.
So I took some notes, so I actually have some notes.
I was off top of the dome.
Sometimes you gotta be off the top of the dome. Sometimes that happens. Usually that's me off the top of the dome, but look at me, try to be prepared. I appreciate the trigger warning in the beginning of the book. There's like a little trigger warning kind of thing where it talks about how this book includes depictions of abuse, violence, harm, stuff like that, which I appreciate, which is good. Since it's a YA novel and we kind of live in an age, right, where people are becoming more aware of their triggers and stuff like that, I think it's important to kind of have that information available to people so they know how to proceed with the book, because what we're seeing can happen is someone's reading a book and there's a scene that really upsets them and they just can't finish it. So I appreciated that. It was a long read, like Nakia said. I had to switch to the audiobook to finish. I have a new appreciation for fantasy writers because to be able to create not just this whole new world, but new languages, new cultures, new meanings, new animals, new whatever, to be able to create all that off the top of your dome, like off your head, is just crazy. So kudos to fantasy writers out there, because I can't do that. So Stasia was giving me Hunger Games, Goblet of Fire vibes, with the champions having to compete in different challenges. And then I really struggled, even though I appreciate that Rosie created this whole culture, I struggled to understand the culture sometimes and what some of the different things meant.
Yes.
And then also not just understand it, but also to remember some of that stuff. Since the book is so long, it talks about some of the things that were talked about earlier. And I was like, well, I didn't understand what that was at the beginning, so I'm not gonna remember what it means now. And I was struggling with that. And I think this may have been an instance where I think the show movie would maybe be better than the book. For me personally, I think this is something that I would need to visually see than to read. Just because, like I said, there was a lot of things that I just wasn't understanding or picking up on. And then there's some things that were hard for me to visualize myself and actually see. And when you're trying to read a fantasy novel, you want to be able to visualize everything. And I was struggling there. But the last thing that, similar to Nakia, the last 100 pages, last couple chapters, top notch. Like, wish the beginning was like that. Wish the beginning picked up like that, because
I don't remember the beginning.
I remember enough because, you know, the key plot points, but that's about it.
All right, now we're going to go to our next segment, which is major scenes and topics. All right, so while Jazz was giving her reactions, I wrote down a couple topics. So I put acceptance of who you are, the divides and separations within cultural and racial groups. That was big. And then also the fear of something causes more harm than actually embracing it. And then like family secrets. So those are my topics. My major scenes. Don't want to give them away. All my major scenes were like, the scenes that I liked were towards the end. But the scene where Malik and Karina, is it Karina or Karina? Karina.
That's how the audiobook was pronouncing her name.
Right. So Malik and Karina go into this secret compartment in the castle, or in the palace. Also, when Malik learns to control his powers or his magic, and he, weaves this story and illusions, and not just during the second challenge, but like when he just starts to use it in general. And then the scene where we find out Farid what he's done and his true motives. That's when the story is just like, woo, 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 woo. And I was just like, oh God, it just took a turn. So the story, now looking back that I've read the whole book, Malik and his sisters meeting the griot at the beginning, the storyteller, and how that all like comes together at the end, because you realize who the griot is and the storyteller is. But yeah, those are my major scenes and topics. Jen?
Okay. So my major scenes, I have the Kestrel's fight, because I felt that was important. The opening ceremonies of Solstasia, because the prize is announced, and that's like, I feel like was kind of an important plot point. The raid where at Salty Bottom, no, that's not what that place was called. Dirty Seal, the Dancing Seal, something, whatever that nightclub.
Dancing Seal. It's Dancing Seal. But Salty Bottom sound like something from SpongeBob.
As soon as I said it, that's what I thought.
Like, nope, not that.
Not that. The raid there, Driz and Malik's altercation, and then I guess the ending where Malik decides if he wants to go through with his task or not, and then obviously the reveal of the true traitor in Zaran. My topics that I have were generational trauma or secrets, because there were a lot of things that were happening in the different families, and how Malik, both, and Karina were dealing with some of those generational traumas and things that were passed down to them. Anxiety and mental health, and then also grief. Anxiety for Malik, because he was having like legit panic attacks and having to control his anxiety, and then Karina having to deal with grief appropriately. Like her whole main motivation was her not processing her grief like she should have. And then xenophobia, because of how they were treating people from Estra, and how they talked about the people from there, and just being the hatred and racism, I guess, you could have towards these people from this other country. So yeah, those were my topics and my major scenes. I will say, I do like that they touched on the anxiety piece. I think that was important. I think it was good. And it was also good to see that it was slightly been able to overcome it or weaponize it a little bit, and be able to use that for a strength instead of a weakness. I think was good.
I don't think in the fantasy novels I read, you don't see a lot. You do see mental health, but you don't see it like discussed as it was in this novel. And that's something I forgot to mention, because I did notice that too. Because like Karina had her headaches whenever she thought about her mother, not her mother, but her father and her sister dying. She couldn't control it. And then that could also have been from her trying to suppress her thing that she has. And then, like you said, with Malik and his anxiety or panic attacks, and there was also like him, like he was like mutilating himself, and then one of the other champions like gave him the rubber band so that he wouldn't like actually be trying to like cut himself.
It was good to see Malik be so like a vulnerable character. And I like that. Sometimes when you read fantasy, I mean, well, maybe not. I don't really read a lot of fantasy, so I can't really say how they are in fantasy novels. But I just feel like sometimes like I would perceive fantasy characters to be like super strong, take on anything. And it was good to see him be kind of the complete opposite and be really meek, mild, and having to come outside of himself. So that was refreshing. But I felt like Karina's teenage queen angst was just kind of typical whenever you have a story about a teenage princess or something. Very rarely is there a teenage royal person who's like, I love being a queen, or I can't wait to be queen kind of character. I feel like they're always hating it.
Yeah. And to go along with what you said about Malik, there's like I think it's like a Harry Potter trope. Like Harry Potter always like ran into danger. He was always going like head first into it, and Malik was doing his best to like stay away from everything, which is the exact opposite. But I do agree, he was very vulnerable and just open. He was emotional, and I love the fact that he took care of his baby sister. Like it talked about him like she would be on his hip and follow him around, and he would do stuff for her, like basically as a a father, like another caretaker besides her mother. Let's see. I don't want to talk about major scenes too much because I feel like it's gonna spoil it.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, there was one thing I didn't know. Okay, so as I told y'all, I've been reading a lot of African fantasy novels. As in a lot. This is like my 5th one. So
that is a lot though.
I did notice that gray, white, or silver hair always seems to be a sign of power in African fiction, because in Tomi Adeyeme's novels, all the people who have magical powers have like white hair, or they'll have a white streak of hair. In what was it? In Akata Witch and Akata Warrior, the main character Sunny was very powerful, and she was albino, so of course she had very light hair. And in this book, the royalty, they have white hair. So I wonder, I really don't know African culture or anything like that, but I just thought that was very like, 3 different authors all have like the same symbolism in their novels.
So I did a quick Google search, and
Come on, Googs.
Among many African people, the color white, for example, may signify the spirit world of the ancestors. That is interesting, though. I would like to understand more about that, because I think it was obviously some significance if multiple African fantasy authors have included this kind of trait. Right. So it's really interesting. Also, I love the tie into magic and the culture, and I think that's awesome, particularly with African culture and magic there, because I think that kind of goes to some of our like religion, and there's so many deities and gods and goddesses in African culture that I don't know about, so it's kind of cool to read about them, and whether these are made up or not, I'm not sure if they're real or not, but it was still good to read.
Yes, and I like the fact, like what you said, that their magic was, connected to their culture, and it's not just something you happen upon, and kind of like in, not normal, but not traditional either. But the dominant fantasy novels, white, male, Anglo-Saxon, those are typically the characters that we get, and they just kind of like stumble upon their magic, or it's not really a part of their culture and something, that's embraced. Oh, the one I want to talk about was fear of something causes more harm than embracing it. So,
yes.
In this novel, I guess not in all fantasy, but this one specifically, the fear of magic has caused more harm than good. And like Karina's family is all wrapped up in magic, but it's like a tangled ball of weeds, and she doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't even know that the tangled ball of weeds is there, so she doesn't even know how to find it. And like other people, I just totally agree that when you are afraid of something, that's when you are most likely to cause harm. Because this reminds me of, okay, go with me here, people.
Okay.
If you've ever seen the movie Frozen, okay?
Yes.
They after Elsa accidentally shoots the ice thing at Anna, they take her to the trolls. Yeah. And the trolls, the Poppy troll says, the fear of this fear is going to be your worst enemy. So the parents interpret that prophecy as other people being afraid of Elsa is going to be harmful. So they thought they needed to conceal her magic. But in all actuality, it was her own fear that caused more harm than good, because that caused her to hide away and lose her relationship with her sister. She wasn't, even when her parents died, they had to grieve alone. So this goes back to this book. Like, when you hide something, you create that fear within yourself, and that creates more issues, more trauma than actually embracing it and learning and cultivating your gifts would.
That was good. I like that. I was kind of hesitant when you said the Poppy troll, because then I started thinking about the Trolls movie, and I was like, was that troll's name Poppy? I was like,
it's like Grand Poppy. His name is like Grand Poppy, something like that. Sorry, Grand Poppy troll. Grand
Poppy troll, because I started thinking about Poppy, the other troll from Trolls.
When it came out of my mouth, I thought that too. Sorry.
But no, that's really good. And what's crazy is, I think that's important to talk about, not just as it pertains to magic, but anything in life. You should just embrace something instead of being fearful of it. Trying to embrace it the best way that you can and overcome it, and don't let that fear control you. and
Right.
try to control what you can control. I do think though that was a major hindrance for the people of Iran was
Right.
their fear of magic and limiting them, because I think there was this belief that, you know, if someone's magical, they're going to overthrow us. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
embracing it and allowing those people to help better your kingdom, your country, you have now created this divide unnecessarily and this hindrance. So that was a good thing to point out there, sis.
Don't want to talk about too many scenes, y'all, because, you know,
There's a lot that are important.
spoilers.
Yeah, that's the spoilers, and the scenes are very, very important.
Yes.
There's a lot.
And if you read the book, you'll get all the details.
So many details. They're all there, ready for you in those 427 pages.
Why do you remember the page count? All right, y'all. We are on to the next segment, what you have all been waiting for. Why you came to this podcast, to this YouTube video, is to hear us rate the book. And Jasmine is going to tell you about our rating scale, and we have a special surprise about our rating scale. Jasmine, we are in your hands.
Oh my God, you're in my very capable and precious hands. All right, so our rating scale is as follows. So we have sober, which is that book was garbage, complete trash. Never want to read it again. Then we have buzz, which was like, okay, I see it. You tried. I mean, you're not the worst thing, but you ain't the best. Then we have tipsy, which is you're getting a little bit better. Okay, I'm feeling my drink a little bit. I'm feeling it. Then you have what? Faded. Okay, so Faded is new. We've added up. We've been having a 4-point scale since it was kind of hard to rate books. It made it kind of difficult, so we added Faded. And Faded is basically like when you are on your journey, and it is so good. You was like, oh my God, this is good. I'm liking this. I like how this feels. It's giving me everything I need. This is good. And then last but not least is Lit, which you guys all should know. And that's the top of the scale. That's the best thing you could possibly be. That book is out of this world. Amazing. You want to write home about it. You want to tell everybody to read it. You're going to buy a copy for your cousin, your mama, and all of them aunties and them, because it's just absolutely amazing. So just to recap, our scale is now sober, buzz, tipsy, faded, and lit. It is a 5-drink system, 5-point system, 5-star system, 5-flame system, whatever emoji you want to throw in there, those are your options.
Yeah, I'm so glad we have that other rating in there, because sometimes I will use my my Goodreads or Amazon, because you know they give you 5 stars, so I'll use those to kind of base my Black Girl Lit rating. And then I'm like, sometimes it's not really tipsy, but then it's not really buzz, and it's so yeah, I'm glad we did that.
5th star I think will be extremely helpful.
Yes. I guess I will go first.
Yeah, that's your book.
So let me make sure I rate this the correct way.
1, 2, 3, 4, or 5.
So this book for me is a tipsy. And at first this book, initially it was going to be like a barely buzzed. But that's at the end, I was like, oh my God. And then like the last sentence, I'm like, dang it, now I want to read the next book. She got me. My issues and my qualms with this novel are there's just too many details. Some scenes are just stretched out for too long and they're just so unnecessary. Like that whole scene with Karina in the bar, like we need that scene, but do we need every single detail and know that people were crying and da-da-da-da? Like, it's just too much. It's too much. Just pull it back a little bit. And I wish that, like Jazz mentioned, I wish some other things were explained, like behind the culture and the magic and some of the words. Like, there was one word in there that looked like a backwards C, but it was closed a little more than a C. Then it was a W, and then another one of those backward C's. I didn't even know how to pronounce it, and I wish there was like maybe a glossary, just a little more explanation. Like there's a map at the beginning of the book, but I don't need the map. Like I need a little more explanation of like the culture and a little more explanation of the magical things that are going on, just so I can, connect more to the book. But the ending definitely saved this book from being a buzz or a sober. So definitely tipsy, which is 3 out of 5 on our scale for me.
So for me, it's a tipsy for me too, girl. I think it would have been, based on our previous scale, it would have been a buzz, but adding this extra level helped it a little bit. It started off as super sober. It was a super sober. Super
Never
sober.
had a drink in my life.
Never had a drink in its life. Wanted to become a nun, kind of thing. Super sober. But then it got a little bit better, and then it continued to get a little bit better, and then the ending was really good. So that's where it put it over, right at the tipsy location. I think I struggled like you, too many details, but then also not enough details in some areas. Too much information, too many unnecessary scenes. The plot points kind of got convoluted, and to be completely honest with you, one of the big elements that I was kind of looking for, kind of like romance, I think could have been expounded upon more than what it was. And maybe it wasn't necessary, I guess, similar to the Princess and the Frog, where Princess Tiana don't need no love to be queen of her world. But kind of, I don't know, I just thought that the way that the true official synopsis reads, it reads that there may be this beautiful romance that's going to come out of it. I'm not saying that there isn't a romance or isn't any romance. I'm just saying, for me personally, I would like a little bit more. So that's where I stand with it. And also, it gets a tipsy because, it gets a tipsy because, why was it so long? Like, I hate, y'all don't understand how much I struggle with audiobooks. Okay, I struggle really badly. Audiobooks are not made for me. Okay, I get too distracted. I start thinking about other stuff besides the book, and I gotta keep rewinding the same thing because I don't miss something. So for me to have to switch to an audiobook to finish it was too much. It was too much. But it's a tipsy, and I do think I will try to read more fantasy novels. I think that's something that I think has created an interest. This has created an interest in for me. So, that may be something I may venture down. But as of right now, I'm going to just stick to what I normally read because I need a break. I need to read words I know and understand.
I was just looking up. She might have not developed the romance as much because the second novel comes out in June 2021. A psalm of storms and silence. So she's trying to keep our interest peaked. Hold on, let me go grab the next book we're reading. Because it's actually a book.
It's an actual book. I know. Can I tell y'all, the last time I read a physical book was probably years ago. A lot of years ago. Not just some years, but a lot.
And this book is heavy.
Heavy.
But it's less pages.
It's so heavy on me.
Yeah. All right, you all. This is The Other Americans, a novel by Felice Laverne.
The literary lobbyist reached out to us.
Oh, okay. So this is what we're reading. I don't know what it's about. Haven't read the synopsis, but they sent these novels to us. So we are going to read them and discuss them on our podcast BookTube series. So y'all want to read along? Here it is.
And we are excited to read it. I just thought it would be good to, since someone thought, so much of us, to actually send us copies of the book, why not actually read Black Girl Lit and talk about it? And like I said, this will be the first time I've actually read a physical book in years. So
yeah,
I'm gonna need to find a bookmark. I don't even own a bookmark.
You can fold the pages. It's okay.
I don't want a dog ear. I want a bookmark. I'm gonna go to Amazon and order me a fancy ass book.
Oh my gosh. Normalize luxury in your lives. It's our next book. This was Jasmine's choice to put this up here.
It was.
Thank you, Jasmine. No problem. And anything else for the good of the order?
I have absolutely nothing for the good of the order.
All right, y'all, that's all we have for today. Done acting up. Make sure y'all follow us on social media at blackgirllit_. Email us at blackgirllitYT@gmail.com. Start some conversation, engage with us. Buy our merch. This is blackgirllit.com. Buy it up, please.
Buy it. Actually, maybe one day we'll do a giveaway and maybe you could win something, but but first you gotta buy it.
Right. And as always, stay Black Girl Lit.
Stay Black Girl Lit out in those streets, y'all. These folks be trying to take your shine, but don't let them steal your Black Girl Lit shine.
All right, y'all. Bye.
That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. Leave us a 5-star rating and a top-notch review to get us to the top review page on iTunes. And be sure to follow us and listen on SoundCloud.